This and that and what the fuck else, episode 94. And in this episode I'm going to talk about Germany and my favorite topic, the global revolution. Got some stuff on the green thing that's also quite disturbing. I have got my personal opinion about this green thing, and I have mentioned it a few times in my Skidmarks. I am of the opinion that the whole damn thing is a scam. And yesterday I saw a post on Twitter in which the person was saying that Canada should get to their carbon absorption targets by, I think, 2035 or some shit like that. And I just mentioned to them, God is in control. You've got the best carbon absorbers on the planet. It is called trees. But those maniacs, they don't want to listen to facts. Let me get this one. I just had to use it and share it, laugh about it. And on the image you can see Dmitry Medvedev and Putin having a laugh, and listen to the words. Germany reports a threat to national security due to energy crisis. The Federal Office for Criminal Affairs of Germany believes that the internal security of the country is under threat due to the energy crisis and high inflation. And who the hell is responsible for that? They did it to themselves. And I just have to shake my head. I cannot believe Germany got themselves into this shit. And then there's this. Germany has handed Ukraine its first TRML-40 radar system for missile defense. Germany plans to deliver 4 units of this equipment. Now, there's a lot of talk around this, and fact of the matter is, the Russians destroy these machines as quickly as they are deployed in. So the Germans are getting poorer and poorer and poorer by pumping their expensive weapons into Ukraine. And then I'm in the global revolution, and I included this post in the global revolution just for you to think. Listen to it and think about it. Iran hasn't invaded a country in 300 years. Yet we, the United States, being 246 years old, have been at war for 236 years. Who is the real global threat to peace? That is a very valid question, and I just want to mention this. If you are a supporter of my channel and a regular viewer, I have done what I could about Ukraine. I have showed you what they did to the people in Donbass. I have showed you about the organ harvesting. I have showed you about the human trafficking. I've showed you about the biolabs. I have showed you about the abductions. I have showed you about the killing of POWs. I have showed you the real existence of Nazis in that regime. I have done what I can. If you are still today of the opinion that Ukraine is the hero and Russia is the Satan, I can do nothing more. That doesn't mean that I'm going to stop reporting on it, but it just means that you are really not willing to listen and to learn and to make up your mind and base your decisions on reality and facts. Let me get this, and I'm also including it here under the global revolution. And it's words of JFK. You cannot negotiate with people who say what is mine and what is yours is negotiable. That is so true. Think about it. And then this was very interesting. And you have to take a good look at that poster. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a bigger image of that poster. Italy Finally, the right poster began to appear in Europe. A Russian soldier fights not only for the freedom of Donbass, but for the liberation of Europe from the American slavery. That is the truth, the reality, and the fact. And whether you like it or not, this is what's going on. Emerging economies and a multipolar economic order. The crisis of 2022 has a very interesting feature. Over the past 20 years, any flare-up of instability among developed countries in general, and the US in particular, has led to an inevitable massive flight of international fund capital from developing countries. This has been reflected in the collapse of currencies, equities, and bond markets. This was particularly pronounced in the largest developing countries, where the concentration of foreign investors in the national financial system is relatively high. These include India, Russia, Turkey, Poland, Brazil, Argentina, Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, etc. China has its own very unique features and operates according to its own laws. First, the share of foreign investors in the national financial system is minimal. Second, the contractual relations and specifics of functioning are not similar to any other country, but that is a separate story. This also applies to Saudi Arabia, which is also a very closed market. Markets in developing countries used to collapse with any significant crisis in developed markets, but this did not happen in 2022. With the harshest shock in the financial markets, the fall in equities and bonds was the biggest in history, applicable to the US. There are virtually no outflows from emerging developing markets. Currencies, debt markets, and even equity markets in emerging developing countries are extremely resilient compared to the rout in developed countries. A few bright markers can be recorded. Latin American national currencies, Brazil, Mexico, Peru, Uruguay, have strengthened against the dollar, while the euro and pound and yen have all plummeted against the dollar. When has this ever happened? Stock markets in India, Brazil, Peru, Mexico, Chile, Indonesia, South Africa, Egypt, not to mention Turkey, are rising year on year, even in dollar terms. Markets in developing countries used to collapse with any significant crisis in developed markets, but this did not happen in 22. The harshest shock in the financial markets was applicable to the US. There are virtually no outflows. Currencies and debt markets, even equity markets in emerging developing countries are extremely resilient. We are witnessing the decoupling of two global financial and social sectors. One that includes all the countries on Russia's list of unfriendly countries, which is sanctioning other economies and isolating themselves, while the other group of neutral countries, or Russia's friendly countries, which is less consolidated but far more diverse and autonomous. Key developing countries are becoming less and less important in financing US government debt every year. The trend is steady with acceleration after 2018, where China is leading the process. This is something that you really should take note of if you are invested in the West. Take note of these things. Then we get this. China fumes after UK blocks major business dealing, citing national security. China has accused the British government of violating international trade rules after the UK intervened to reverse the sale of a country's largest microchip maker to a Chinese company on the grounds of national security. Now, I'm not going to read all of it. You can stop the thing and read the rest. The fact of the matter is, the UK and the EU seems to me to be fully committed to scaring all and every investment from the non-West world out of their markets, and they are going to suffer for it. Let me get this. Everything is changing. The West is in decline, the global majority is getting stronger, and the West is in a conflict with Russia because it wants to preserve its 500 years of domination. That is the reality of today. The West is struggling to adapt to the new reality where they are no longer the single universal power. The days of that domination is over. And then you get this, and this should make Van der crazy, crazier than she is. China spending on Russian energy near $60 billion since the war. Imports of crude, natural gas and coal all climbed last year. Purchases from Russia of refined copper and nickel slumped. And then there's this from Elon Musk. He's creating quite a stir. If you don't like Trump's reinstatement or the way I'm running Twitter or getting several daily push notifications from my account, then delete the app. For as much as you are all stomping and crying, I know you won't, because you're a bunch of babies addicted to the drama. And I had to laugh when I saw that, and I shared it specifically for us South Africans. We know this Okazatic South African. It seems to me that South African character is still stuck in his veins. He doesn't scare easily. And then there is this from Ursula von der Crazy. In 2021, vaart al EU-uiters verbieden den verbrenner. So, binnebrand goed wil hulle they want to stop internal combustion cars, and you must all go electric. That's in 2021. And in 2022, we are rationing the electricity. So how must you charge your EV? Think about that. And this one is also part of the green thing. PETA calls for women to go on a sex strike against men who eat meat. And look at that guy. He is enjoying it. And PETA wants you ladies to stay away from men that eat meat. I wonder how successful that campaign is going to be. More green. Climate scientists in 1971. In the next 50 years, fossil fuel burning could screen out so much sunlight that the average temperature could drop by 6 degrees. It could be sufficient to trigger an ice age. That was in 1971. Now, 50 years later, the guy says, remember the ice age that started last year? And here is a newspaper clipping from that madness. You can stop the show and read it. It is absolutely crazy. And that was in 1971. And then we have this from MIT. The Earth can regulate its own temperature over millennia, new study finds. Scientists have confirmed that a stabilizing feedback on a 100,000 year timescale keeps global temperatures in check. But the greenies don't want to hear facts. They want to run on your emotions. And then there's this interesting list. Each issue disappeared with a time mysteriously. 70s, the new ice age. 80s, acid rain. 90s, ozone depletion. 2000s, global warming. Then they had to change it to climate change because global warming was such an obvious lie. That's 40 years of being completely wrong in the name of fear-mongering to power and money. Science is more like lions, and that is the reality. I just hope the people of the world, the citizens of the world, doesn't get caught with this bullshit again after the scamdemic. We must be wise now. And then this, I have used it previously in Skidmarks. Just take a look at that. Remind me why we are destroying the forests and woodlands. And you look at those temperatures in that street, that top street. 36 degrees C on the left, 43 C on the right, 50 degrees C on the tarmac. And then with trees, 20 C on the left, 18 C on the right, and 26 C on the tarmac. That alone should be enough to make you wake up and plant trees. And then we get this, and this is also something that the greenies will not promote. The great inconvenient truth of electric battery storage. It would cost $100 trillion to produce enough batteries to store power in Europe for winter. It would take industry 400 years to build them. The United Nations climate hoax will destroy Western life. And that is the truth, and that's the reality, and that's their aim. I have spoken about it. The WEF does not want families. They do not want religious groups. They do not want white people. They don't want anything that makes you as a human function normally in a society. They want to destroy all of that. And then we have this. Whoops. Scientists puzzled as Greenland's largest glacier slows down and thickens. Now think about that and just smile, because those green fearmongers, they are out of control, and unfortunately for us, they have the media under their control, and the media is lapping every dribble of shit up and spread it to us. Wake up, people. And then we get to that what the fuck moment, and this is applicable in this environment. Listen to what this guy says. Yeah, I know it's a meme, but many of these memes are full of truths. If we divide 125 genders by 3 bathrooms, how much climate change do we have? And how is that? Real facts. And this guy is fully right to be confused. Now, can you answer that question? And while you think about the question, please hit the like and the subscribe, and thank you for your support.